We're going to do in this video Deuteronomy chapters 1 through 5. So our keywords have to start with the letter D. One is the letter T or D. So we have a deed. You can see this deed over here, a piece of paper that makes things official, but it's a deed. And in this deed, he's putting a stamp on a spy. When you put a stamp on a letter, that means you're going to send that letter, right? So in this chapter, Deuteronomy chapter 1, deed, it's the chapter where God sends the spies over into the promised land to check it out and to spy out the land to see what's there, because God is going to give them the promised land. So Deuteronomy chapter 1, God sends the spies over the land. Deuteronomy chapter 2, N is for the number 2, so we have a dune, what's called a dune buggy. Dune buggy. Here's a dune buggy. The throne represents God, and he's got a watch on. And then the number 40 is driving the dune buggy. Dune, chapter 2. In this chapter, God, throne, watches over the people of Israel. How long did he watch over them? How long were they in the wilderness for? For 40 years. God watched over them. Even though they ended up being in the wilderness longer than they could have been, God still watched over them. That is awesome. God is awesome. God is so good and loving. Chapter 3, we have M is for the number 3, so we have a dime in this picture. The throne has on boxing gloves, which, hey, somebody puts on boxing gloves, they're a fighter, right? They're going to fight. In this chapter, we're told that God will fight for you. And he fought for the people of Israel. Wherever they went, and when they listened to him and obeyed him, God always fought for his people. God will fight for you too. Hey, remember Deuteronomy chapter 3. It's a great chapter. Deuteronomy chapter 4, R is the number 4, so we have a picture of a door. And a boy, he's observing. You use a microscope to observe things very closely and very clearly, to observe little things even. He's observing. And God says, if you'll observe my word and my commands and what I tell you, I will make your wisdom appear to all other people. You'll be like a wise people in the eyes of the other nations. So observe God's commands and word very carefully in your life. Door, keyword. Chapter 5, L is for 5. Dial. Telephones, before we had cell phones, used to look like this, and you have to dial them. Dial them. On this dial, there are 10 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In this chapter, God goes over and rehearses what the 10 commandments are. Love the Lord, and you probably know a bunch of them. Do not steal, do not kill, and so on. But this is a rehearsal, a reviewing in chapter 5 of Deuteronomy of the 10 commandments of God.